Alright, welcome back to the My Venture channel. Let's have a look at this Alpicool, I believe it's a T-36 dual zone refrigerator. I've had this thing for 3 years at this point, two and a half years. And it's got mixed blessings about it. It works well, but it's going to kind of depend on what your use case is. Or at least you have to set things up a little bit differently if you want to do it like a dual zone. The biggest thing is well, here, it's got a divider in it. And that goes in here. And then that gives this your two separate zones. So you have this style and this style. Now keep in mind it's only a 36 quart cooler, so I mean you can only fit so much stuff in there. I basically only use it as a single zone, and because it uses a lot of power if you want to use it as a freezer. But it's just an okay fridge. I don't think I would buy it again, because I was looking for a true dual zone refrigerator, which this kind is. But I was looking for something more or less that I could just say I caught a bunch of fish and I want to freeze them, right? I'm on a week-long vacation, I want to freeze them. In order to do that, I would have to divide this in half and let the freezer side cool down. Well, that's an issue because I don't have power other than my battery system. And it will take probably, if you want to freeze it down to say 15 degrees, 10 degrees, it'll probably take 6 hours. Well, I don't know how long it takes because I've always just left it and then come back the next day and it's at temperature. Once it's there, it's okay, but it takes forever to do that. So doing it on the road, unless you have power, shore power is kind of real, or a very large battery bank or some serious solar power. It's not really what you're looking for. As a single zone, which pretty much mostly what I've used it for, it works pretty well. It is roughly the size of like a standard igloo cooler, only it weighs a little bit more because it's got a compressor and stuff in it. I would say that the compressor actually does pretty good. I've ran this thing for 2 hours this week and straight, not a problem. It still runs. It didn't get the temperature down to where I needed it to because it takes a long time, but it ran it. It's small on the inside. Those are 16-ounce sociables. In my opinion, I would say that this is really good for like a couple for like a week. If you bring in all your stuff, like your meat frozen, you're going to have to kind of play a game and play with it. Like mine, I have to put all my frozen meat over here, and I have to stop at about the center because it stays frozen cold over here, but a little bit warmer over here. And as, a couple days goes, it starts to thaw this stuff out. So you either got to play a game of rotation or just eat what's starting to thaw out. It's up to you. But you're probably going to have to do that. And that's with it set at like 18 degrees. So therein lies another problem. If you've got like vegetables and stuff in here, it kind of creates a little bit of problem, like lettuce, that sort of thing, because you got to keep this thing down to like 18, 15 degrees. And sometimes it'll get cold enough up here to where it'll be it'll freeze the vegetables actually, but your meat will stay cold, or your meat will start to thaw out depending on what it is. Hamburger will last a little bit longer, especially if it's in 1 pound packages, but it starts to thaw out. It becomes a little bit of a temperature regulation issue, but that's just because it's a single zone and it's a relatively inexpensive refrigerator. I forgot what I paid for this, but it's like $249 for this one. It does have an app, which is actually pretty nice. You can control everything through there, which is actually pretty nice. It does have, like I said, the dividers, and it does have a couple of baskets in there, but I just got rid of the baskets because I just don't use them. Because I'm in here rifling things around, shuffling things, because that's kind of the nature of the way this thing works. They do make a couple different sizes of this kind of cooler. They make like a 40 or a 42 quart, and it's just basically they take this seam right here and they add like, you know, that much to it. And then the 60 is the same thing. It's like, you know, like 4, 5, 6 inches worth of taller, but dimensionally it's really the same. The other issue that I have had with this thing is with the divider in, it does false starts. So it'll like try to start for a second and then it'll stop. And then it'll try to start for a second and it'll stop. It's like it's got to get vroom, 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 and then it'll finally start to kick on. That's another reason why I haven't used it. I could probably send it in for warranty, but I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to get a different fridge because I'm single, no children, and I end up rifling through this thing even when I had the baskets. It's just, for a week-long vacation, you got to get a lot of stuff in there, and I end up rifling through it. I haven't found a good system yet, but it's just not big enough. I need more space this way and maybe that way. So, you know, like a 60 liter, I'm kind of looking at the Iceco, like the VL60. That's a bigger fridge. It's true dual zone with separate compartments. I can use either compartment as either one that I want, or just shut a compartment off and only use one compartment, like if I'm only going for a weekend, and save the power. So speaking of power on this thing, you know, I'm going to kind of use some loose general terms with this a little bit because your area is going to be dependent. Time of year is going to be dependent. But roughly, if you're just setting it up as a single zone, setting it down to roughly 15 degrees or so, it will use between 250 and like 320, 330 watt hours per 24 hours. If you set it colder than that, it's going to use a lot more. If you use the divider and keep this as a freezer, one side is a freezer and one side is a refrigerator, it's going to use more than that. So just be aware. Would I buy it again? No, I would not. Not for what I'm doing. I wanted a dual zone that was inexpensive, that I could just rifle some stuff around, throw the divider in here, and set it up as a freezer. Like I said, if I catch a bunch of fish or something and I just want to freeze them, I can do that. It doesn't really allow me to do that because it takes so much power once it's going there. Once it's trying to get to the frozen temperature, that it's just not worth it. And I just don't, I mean, I'm in the woods a lot and there's not enough sunshine. So that's just kind of how it is. So, and if you set it up with a divider, it makes that compartment really small. So it's just not big enough for what I'm trying to do with it. If you're just going to get groceries and you want to keep this thing at 20 degrees, so you know, you live in Arizona, it's 100 and some odd degrees, I want my ice cream to stay frozen till I get it home, that sort of thing, set the thing at 0 degrees, set your ice cream in there, and I think you'll be okay. But for a couple, I think it'll be okay for a week. Again, you're going to have to cycle through a little bit. It kind of depends, you know, the amount of vegetables that you have, that sort of thing. I throw everything in there. You might be able to get away with, you know, having your vegetables and lettuce outside of there. I don't know. But that's just kind of the where I'm at with this, as I'm going to end up getting another one. So I would not get it, but that's just for me personally. So hope this helps everyone make a decision. Until next time, this is the My Venture channel. You guys take care.